Thank you all for listening and watching my videos. Please subscribe and like my channel Master Coolitz. Hoping that you will not skip my ads, it's a big help for me by not skipping it. Thank you so much. Dragon Shadow. The Rise.
In the fierce realm of the Blood Demon's secret land, the air was thick with tension and the scent of imminent peril. Just as the battle roar reached its peak, Zane Martell snapped back from his distraction, his senses razor sharp. The ground beneath his feet vibrated with the force of clashing titans, the air seething with the sounds of conflict.
Stop.
Amidst the chaos, the ancient enmity between the Five Spirit sect and the Devil Flame sect erupted into a blazing inferno of violence. With their unique battle cries and moves, each sect's warriors clashed fiercely, neither willing to back down nor give an inch. The forest around them seemed to recoil, the trees shuddering as the very earth groaned under their fury.
Trying to escape? No way! All of the little brats of the Five Spirit sect must be immersed in this land forever.
The elder's voice, gravelly and laden with malice, echoed across the battlefield, a grim promise carried on the wind. His form, shrouded in billowing robes of darkest onyx, stood stark against the fiery backdrop of spells and steel.
This can't be the end. Not here. Not now.
Zane's eyes narrowed as he surveyed the chaotic scene before him. The disciples of his sect, young and old, were locked in a dance of death with their sworn enemies. Each movement was a brushstroke in a macabre painting of struggle and strife.
We hold the line for our fallen brothers.
Nathan's voice rose above the cacophony, a beacon of strength for the beleaguered warriors of the Five Spirit sect. His stature was like that of a seasoned general, his presence galvanizing the younger disciples who looked up to him as a model of martial prowess.
We can't hold them back much longer. They're too strong.
Fear tinged the young disciple's voice as he parried a blow too close for comfort. His face, smeared with the grime of battle, was a mask of desperation. Around him, the air crackled with the energy of spells and the harsh clang of metal on metal.
Your resistance is futile. This land and its secrets will be ours.
The elder's laugh, a chilling sound, cut through the din. His hands moved with precision, weaving patterns in the air that summoned darker flames, swirling around him like a cloak of destruction. His power was undeniable, his mastery of dark arts a threat too real to ignore.
Not if I can help it.
With a fierce cry, Zane leapt forward, his blade drawn and glowing with pale light, stark against the darkness of the elder's magic. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat a drum of war that spurred him on. He moved with a desperation born of fury and a fierce need to protect his people, his home.
Zane, target the amulet on his chest. It's the source of his power.
Nathan's tactical shout reached Zane just as he swung his blade in a wide arc, aiming for the glinting amulet. The elder, caught off guard by the sudden focus of the attack, stumbled back, his flames flickering uncertainly. The battle paused as if catching its breath, the fighters on both sides watching a confrontation between Zane and the elder. The moment was suspended in time, every second stretching into eternity.
This ends now.
His blade connected, a flash of light erupting as it struck the amulet. The impact sent a shockwave through the battlefield, the elder's screams piercing the sudden silence, his flames extinguished, the dark magic dissipating like mist under the morning sun. As the elder crumbled, his power broken, a collective sigh rose from the ranks of the Five Spirit sect. Zane stood breathing heavily, his blade still raised, now only reflecting the light of a fading day.
We've won, but this is not over. We must secure the land and heal our wounds.
Nathan's gaze swept over the weary disciples, his voice firm yet infused with a softness born of empathy. They had won a crucial battle, but the war was far from over. The Blood Demon's secret land held more secrets and more dangers, lurking in its shadowed depths. As night began to fall, the warriors of the Five Spirit sect gathered their wounded and their resolve. The land around them, soaked with the echoes of battle, seemed to whisper of trials yet to come, and of a peace still to be fought for. And so, beneath the canopy of an indigo sky, Zayn Martel and his comrades faced the daunting path ahead. With determination in their hearts and the weight of their sacrifices heavy on their shoulders, they prepared for the challenges that awaited in the shadow of the Blood Demon's secret land. An old man, his body shrouded in sinister black flames, emerged from the spatial passageway, his presence foreboding, a harbinger of doom. The eerie light of his flames cast long dancing shadows across the ground, painting the battlefield in a ghastly palette of blacks and fiery reds. His eyes, aglow with a malevolent gleam, surveyed the chaos he had entered. As he raised his arms, the air around him crackled with raw, unhinged power. With a sweeping gesture, he unleashed devastating attacks that arced through the air like comets, their tails alight with dark energy, reducing unsuspecting disciples to mere ashes.
Moonlight chop.
Nathan's voice cut through the din of battle, his command echoing with a resonant authority that seemed to momentarily still the air itself. In a fluid, practiced motion, he swung his weapon overhead, releasing a crescent wave of silvery light that sliced through the darkness. The blade, imbued with the essence of moonlight, shone brilliantly against the night sky, a stark contrast to the dark energy it raced towards. The scene was apocalyptic. As the moonlight blade clashed with the dark flames, a colossal explosion ensued, shaking the very foundations of the Demon's secret land. Light and shadow in a spectacular display, their collisions sending shockwaves off the battlefield. The ground trembled underfoot, and the air was filled with the scent of ozone and charred earth. Despite the overpowering might of their foe, Nathan Harper, in a radiant beam of light, Zayn Martel combined forces, their figures outlined against the chaos, challenging the Elder with a storm of sword and saber.
Now is not the time to talk about this. The strength of this old geezer seems better than anyone else. If we join hands, we might be able to defeat him, but the others will suffer a great loss.
Zayn's voice was steady, his words cutting through the tumult with clinical precision. His mind raced, he assessed the situation, his strategic acumen peering through the fog of war. His eyes, sharp and calculating, never left the Elder, even as he spoke. His gaze was like a blade itself, dissecting bodies in the heat of battle. As Zayn Martel spoke, the Elder prepared another vicious assault. The demonic flames around him intensified, crackling with a ferocious energy that seemed to threaten the very fabric of reality. The air around him distorted, the heat radiating off his form in palpable waves that could scorch the earth itself. The ground where he stood was blackened, the soil turned to glass under the intense heat. The battle escalated rapidly, with over 100 exchanges in mere moments. The air was a blur of motion, filled with the sound of clashing metal and the hiss of searing flames. Each strike from Zayn and Nathan was met with a parry or a counter, the Elder's skill undeniable, as he wove through their defenses with terrifying precision. Yet the combined might of Zayn Martel and Nathan Harper pressed the Elder back, their synergy evident in their movements, their attacks coordinated and relentless. Nathan, his features set in a grim line, moved with a dancer's grace despite the carnage around him. His every motion was deliberate, his focus absolute. He was a warrior poet, his verse written in the arcs of his blade as it sang through the air.
We must push him further. Only together can we turn the tide.
Zayn's shout rallied the faltering spirits of their allies, his leadership as piercing as his swordplay. Together he and Nathan advanced, their boots thudding on the scorched earth, their shadows entwining with the flickering flames that surrounded them. The Elder, sensing the shift in momentum, snarled with fury. His eyes, now pools of dark fire, reflected a soul forged in the darkest magics. With a roar that seemed to split the sky, he summoned a new surge of power. The dark flames enveloping him were intense, their edges sharper, more defined. But Nathan and Zane were undeterred. They moved as one, their camaraderie born of countless battles, their trust in each other unspoken but palpable. Each knew the other's thoughts, their strategies aligning without a word as they prepared for the next clash. And as the elder hurled another volley of dark fire towards them, Nathan and Zane met it head-on, their weapons raised, their resolve as bright as the moonlight that still fought against the darkness enveloping the land. Their counterattack was a symphony of light and shadow, a battle not just for survival, but for the soul of their world.
Nathan Harbor, run.
With that urgent command, they seized a desperate opportunity, their feet pounding against the earth as they retreated into the dense, shadow-laden forest. Behind them, the elders' roar of frustration boomed, the sound resonating like thunder through the dense canopy of leaves. The Devil Flame sect, their faces twisted in anger, stood at the edge of the clearing, their bodies tense, eyes narrowed in suspicion. The very air seemed charged with their rage, yet they hesitated to pursue, wary of the potential traps that might lie hidden under the deceptive quiet of the underbrush.
Leave them alone. It won't be too late for us to deal with them after we get the real treasures in the secret land.
Her voice, firm and imbued with a cold authority, sliced through the tension. The followers of the Devil Flame sect stopped, their bodies rigid with unspent aggression. Her presence commanded respect, perhaps even fear, from her followers. She stood slightly hunched, her age evident, yet belied by the sharpness of her gaze and the undisputed power that radiated from her. Meanwhile, Zane Martell, Nathan Harbor, and the remnants of their sect found a momentary reprieve by a small, burbling river in the depths of the forest. The gentle sound of flowing water was a stark contrast to the chaos they had fled. The coolness of the shade was soothing, yet the cost of their escape was etched on every face. The lines of fatigue, the smudges of soot, and the blood that marked them as survivors of brutal conflict.
What are you going to do, fellow disciples?
Around the makeshift camp, discussions arose among the weary but spirited disciples. Some chose to search nearby, their eyes scanning the verdant undergrowth for anything that could be of use. Others, their spirits still aflame with the heat of battle, discussed plans to turn back and confront their enemies head-on. As plans diverged and voices overlapped, Nathan turned to Zane, his voice tinged with hope and the underlying fatigue barely masked by his resolve.
Zane Martell, what are you planning to do? Do you want to join me? If we join hands, even the people from the Devil Flame sect will not be able to do anything.
No thanks. I think that Black Crow Mountain is quite interesting. I plan to go there first to see what's going on.
Zane's reply came with a decisiveness that brooked no argument. His eyes, reflecting a mixture of resolve and curiosity, were fixed on the distant silhouette of Black Crow Mountain. The mountain stood ominously against the sky, its peaks shrouded in mist and mystery. It was not just a geographical feature, but a symbol of the unknown challenges and potential treasures that lay ahead. As Zane's gaze lingered on the mountain, his mind was already racing, piecing together strategies and possibilities. The mountain, with its foreboding presence, seemed to call to him, a siren song of danger and discovery intertwined. As the shadows of the forest grew longer and the mysterious Black Crow Mountain loomed in the distance, one could not help but wonder what seeks out. The mountain, with its jagged peaks cutting through the clouds, stood as a silent guardian over treasures untold or dangers unimaginable. And as Zane Martell's decision to venture into its depths took root, the question lingered in the air, heavy with implications. How would this choice affect the fate of all who had ventured into this treacherous land? Would it lead them to salvation or further into the clutches of peril? In the shadow of Black Crow Mountain, Nathan Harbor stood, his face etched with lines of disappointment, a stark contrast to the stoic, unyielding cliffs that rose before him. The mountain, a looming behemoth, cast a long shadow over him, its dark silhouette merging with the dimming twilight sky, reflecting the somber mood that hung in the air.
What's so good about Black Crow Mountain, anyway?
His voice, tinged with a mixture of sorrow and frustration, carried into the cold wind, barely heard over the whispering pines that lined the rugged landscape. But he nodded, resigned, his shoulders slumping slightly as he accepted the unspoken truths that the mountain would not reveal its secrets easily to those who are not ready to face its daunting challenges.
Well, let's part ways here. See you around.
His words floated softly, a reluctant goodbye to a companion who had shared the road, but not the journey's end. Nathan Harbour took flight, his form blending with the encroaching night, swiftly becoming one with the mountain's dark contours. Zane Martell watched him disappear, a lone figure against the vast wilderness, then turned his attention back to the foreboding mountain. He inhaled deeply, the cool air filling his lungs, bracing himself for the path that lay ahead. As he lifted off, hovering cautiously, the world below unfolded majestically.
Is this a microcosm of the world? What kind of power does it take to create such a place?
His voice, full of wonder and awe, echoed in the open air, mingling with the subtle sounds of nature's breath. Zane Martell pondered this as he flew, his eyes scanning the intricate details of the island below. The land was a mirror to the world beyond, each element meticulously crafted or serendipitously formed from cosmic dances and earthly upheavals. Forests, rivers, and mountains below mirrored the complexity of a world in miniature, possibly shaped by a masterful creator or born from the raw, chaotic essence of nature itself. After about half an hour of thoughtful exploration, the imposing form of Black Crow Mountain dominated the horizon. As he approached, a cave at its base yawned wide, like the open jaws of an ancient beast. Gathered at this ominous gateway, a dozen practitioners from the Devil Flame sect stood, their bodies tense, engaged in a fierce battle with grotesque, blood-red monsters that seemed to emerge directly from the nightmares of the earth. The air crackled with magical energies, the sounds of combat reverberating through the valley. Each practitioner moved with desperate determination, their faces set in grim lines as they conjured fiery spells and sharp blades of light. The monsters, vile creatures with eyes glowing a sinister crimson, fought back with equal ferocity, their roars filling the chilling air. Zane hovered above, his heart pounding with adrenaline and curiosity. The scene below was not just a battle. It was a testament to the harsh realities of this mystical world. The mountain, silent and imposing, watched indifferently as the struggle unfolded at its feet, its caves holding secrets as ancient as the land itself. What ancient mysteries lie within those depths? Zane wondered, his mind racing with possibilities. The mountain, with its air of mystique and danger, called to him, not just as a challenge to be overcome, but as a puzzle to be solved, promising answers to those brave enough to delve into its darkest recesses. Steeling himself for what was to come, Zane prepared to descend into the chaos, to aid those fighting the monstrous beings, and perhaps, in doing so, uncover the deeper secrets Black Crow Mountain guarded so jealously. These abominations had the limbs of humans and beasts, their bodies dripping with blood. Though their movements were stiff, they attacked with unnerving speed, charging the Devil Flame sect members with frenzied intensity. Their grotesque forms blurred the line between man and monster, their eyes gleaming with a savage hunger that chilled the blood of all who faced them.
These blood corpses. They look familiar. Like the blood humans from Yuanhe County, but stronger.
Zane's voice trembled slightly as the memory of those earlier encounters filled his mind, the horror of those battles casting a dark shadow across his thoughts. He watched from a safe distance, recalling the terror of the blood humans. The monsters here were formidable, their skin like iron, clashing with the weapons of the sect members. Each strike sparked off their hide, casting eerie shadows on the rocky walls, the metallic scent of blood heavy in the air.
Is this the blood corpse of the Spirit Fusion sect? Incredible. If they're here, the treasure must be nearby.
His voice echoed with a mix of awe and greed, the possibility of nearby riches fueling his fervor as he parried another vicious strike.
The fools from Five Spirits sect missed out. Let's take down these blood corpses and claim the prize.
His laughter rang out amidst the chaos, a harsh sound that seemed to spur on his comrades even as it drew the attention of more blood-drenched monsters. The battle raged on, sparks flying from powerful attacks. Yet the blood corpses remained unyielding. The Devil Flame sect fighters grew weary, their breaths coming in harsh gasps, sweat and blood mingling on their brows.
This is insane. Our attacks are useless.
His voice cracked with the strain of battle, his usual confidence dissolving into despair as another monster advanced, seemingly unaffected by their assaults. Suddenly, a bright sword light struck the heart of a blood demon. It shuddered violently before collapsing, its fall to the earth heavy and final, dust billowing around its crumpled form.
Their hearts! Aim for their hearts!
His shout cut through the din of battle, a beacon of hope that instantly refocused the group's efforts. With renewed vigor, they targeted the monster's hearts. Steel flashed in the dim light, each thrust and slash more desperate than the last. 10 minutes later, all the blood demons lay defeated, their bodies sprawled across the rocky terrain, a gruesome testament to the battle's ferocity. The sect members, faces alight with triumph, hurried into the cave, their steps echoing with the promise of undiscovered secrets. Zane Martell's lips curled into a smile as he followed stealthily, his mind racing with the implications of what he had just witnessed. The cave loomed ahead, dark and inviting, a portal to unknown dangers and potential wonders. His heart pounded with anticipation and a trace of fear as he contemplated the dark depths that awaited him, each step taking him deeper into the heart of Black Crow Mountain's mysteries. Inside, the cave was surprisingly well lit, the walls embedded with dimly glowing rocks that cast a soft, eerie light across the rugged stone. They moved through a narrow passageway, the air cool and slightly damp, merging into the first room. Blood-red crystals lined the walls, each the size of a fist, their facets catching the light and shimmering with a deep, ominous glow.
Blood crystals, look at all of them.
His voice echoed in the cavernous space, a note of greed tinted with awe coloring his words as he reached out to touch the jagged surface of the nearest crystal. Zane Martell's heart raced. Blood crystals were rare and powerful, known for their ability to enhance one's magical abilities significantly. Their value was immense, not just in wealth, but in the potential power they offered to those who possessed them.
A fortune. Right here.
His mind whirled with the implications, the sheer quantity of the crystals suggesting untold riches and power, enough to change the fate of anyone daring enough to harness their energy. The sect members began collecting the crystals in a frenzy, their hands greedy, eyes wide with the thrill of discovery, until an elderly woman, exuding authority, shouted. Her voice was like a whip crack, sharp and commanding, cutting through the clamor.
Stop! If these crystals are here, imagine what's deeper inside. These are nothing compared to what awaits.
Her stern gaze swept over the room, silencing the commotion as her presence commanded immediate respect and attention. Her words sobered the group. They ceased their frantic gathering, the allure of the crystals momentarily forgotten as their eyes now set on greater prizes, their minds captivated by the promise of even more formidable treasures hidden within the cave's depths. A mysterious man, his face hidden behind a bullhead mask, stepped forward, his movements deliberate and measured. He examined a statue identical to one Zane Martell had seen before, a three-headed, six-armed figure with wings, its stone surface worn, but still imposing.
It is indeed a branch hall of the Spirit Fusion sect.
His voice was muffled behind the mask, yet it carried an unmistakable weight, resonating with an ancient and solemn authority. Zane Martell's breath caught, his pulse quickening as he processed the masked man's words. The elder addressed the masked man with a mix of reverence and curiosity, her tone respectful yet probing.
Venerable sir, could that thing be here?
Her words hung in the air, charged with anticipation, as she referred to an object of immense power and mystery, rumored to be safeguarded by the Spirit Fusion sect.
We'll find out soon enough.
His reply was terse, the layers of his voice suggesting that their quest was far from over, and that the path ahead might hold dangers as great as its rewards. The group, now reined in by the gravity of their potential discovery, moved deeper into the cave, the light from the glowing rocks and blood crystals casting eerie shadows along the path. The air grew cooler and the silence more profound, as if the cave itself was holding its breath, awaiting the uncovering of its deepest secrets. The walls seemed to close in, the atmosphere thick with the weight of untold centuries. Each step forward a descent into the heart of ancient mysteries. The darkness of Black Crow Mountain seemed to swallow Zane Martell whole, its silence oppressive and foreboding. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay, and the flickering torches cast eerie shadows on the walls. As he followed Xanthias and his companions deeper into the mountain, Zane's mind raced with the implications of their quest. The man's title, Xanthias, was whispered in reverence by the group, and the deference shown to him was a stark reminder of his formidable power.
What kind of monster is he? Is he a creature from the spirit realm? If he's that strong, following them could be suicide, but the treasure, I've spent my entire life searching for it. I can't let it slip away now.
As he trailed behind the group, Zane's eyes darted nervously around the dark passageways, his senses on high alert for any sign of danger. The weight of the mountain's history bore down upon him, and he could feel the eyes of ancient spirits watching him from the shadows.
I've come too far to turn back now. I'll just have to be careful, keep my wits about me, and stay one step ahead of whatever dangers lie ahead.
But as they descended deeper into the mountain, the darkness seemed to grow thicker, like a living entity that wrapped itself around Zane's throat. The air grew colder, and the torches flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows on the walls.
What's going on? Why is it getting so dark? Is this some kind of trap?
Xanthias stopped abruptly, his eyes fixed on an ancient stone door adorned with cryptic symbols. The group gathered around him, their faces illuminated only by the faint glow of their lanterns. Zane's breath caught his throat as he realized that they were about to uncover a secret that had been hidden for centuries.
The treasures of the Spirit Fusion Sect. Are we really about to find it? What does this mean?
As they reached out to touch the door, Zane felt a surge of electricity run through his veins. He sensed that they were about to unlock a door that had been sealed for centuries, and that nothing would ever be the same again. What secrets did the depths of Black Crow Mountain hold? And could Zane Martell survive long enough to claim them? Deep within the heart of Black Crow Mountain, a group of adventurers had been making their way through the winding passages, searching for the secrets hidden within. The air was heavy with the weight of ancient history, and the silence was palpable. But little did they know, they were about to face a challenge that would test their strength and their wits. As they approached the checkpoint, a large scarlet formation blocked their way. The air was thick with anticipation, and the group's leader stepped forward to investigate. His eyes narrowed, his mind racing with strategies and possibilities. He had led his team through countless trials, but this one seemed different.
What's going on here?
Zane asked aloud, his voice low and commanding. The formation seemed to hum with dark energy, and the air around it seemed to distort. The group's elder stepped forward, her eyes scanning the array with a mixture of curiosity and concern.
I don't know,
Bo said, her voice laced with a hint of unease.
but I sense something powerful at work here. Something that could change the course of our journey.
The team fell silent, their eyes fixed on the formation. They could feel the weight of its power, but they didn't know what it was or what it wanted.
I faced some tough challenges before, but this one feels different. I can feel the weight of history bearing down on us. What secrets lie hidden within these ancient walls?
As Zane spoke, his words seemed to echo his own walls, as if the mountain itself was listening. The air was heavy with anticipation, and the team could feel their hearts pounding in their chests.
This is it.
Zane said, his voice firm.
This is the moment we've been waiting for. Let's do this.
With a burst of black flames, Zane attacked the formation, but it remained unscathed. The team's eyes widened in shock as they realized that their leader had underestimated the power of this ancient barrier.
What's going on?
Bo asked aloud, her voice laced with concern. Zane's eyes narrowed as he studied the formation. He could feel its power coursing through him, but he didn't know how to harness it.
I don't know,
Zane admitted.
But I think we're not going to be able to bypass this thing. We need to find a way to break through it.
The team nodded in agreement, their minds racing with strategies and possibilities. They knew that they were in for a long and difficult battle, but they were determined to succeed. As they prepared to face the challenge ahead, they could feel the weight of their journey bearing down on them. They knew that they were on the brink of discovering something incredible, something that could change their lives forever. And so they stood there, ready to face whatever lay ahead, their hearts pounding in their chests as they prepared for the battle of their lives. The fate of their journey hangs in the balance as they face off against this ancient barrier. Will they be able to prove defenses and unlock its secrets? The battle has begun.
Venerable Sir, this formation is not simple. It's been set up only to allow those who have practiced the spirit fusion technique to pass through. The ancient energy emanating from it is palpable, and I can sense that it's been waiting for us.
As Bo spoke, her words hung in the air like a challenge. The group's eyes widened in shock, their minds racing with the implications. Zane Martel's eyes narrowed, his gaze fixed on the formation with a hint of determination.
What do you mean?
Zane asked, his voice low and intense.
What's the spirit fusion technique?
Bo's eyes locked onto Zane's, her expression somber.
It's ancient art that requires mastery over one's own energy and spirit. Few have achieved it, and even fewer have attempted to pass through this formation.
Zane's face set in a determined expression.
Let's do it. We'll break through this formation and claim our rewards.
The group charged forward, their attacks blurred movement and energy. The air was filled with the sound of punches and kicks, the earth shaking beneath their feet. But just as it seemed they were making progress, Zane suddenly darted past them, his figure vanishing into the formation like a ghost. The group stumbled to a halt, their eyes fixed on the spot where Zane had disappeared. The formation seemed to pulse with energy, as if it was waiting for them to follow.
What's going on?
Bo asked aloud, her voice laced with concern. But Zane was already deep within the formation, his senses overwhelmed by the ancient energy coursing through it. He could feel the power of the spirit fusion technique calling to him, tempting him to master it. As he delved deeper into the formation, Zane felt his mind expanding, his senses heightened. He saw visions of ancient battles and heroic deeds, his heart pounding with excitement. But as he reached the heart of the formation, Zane felt a sudden jolt of fear. He saw a figure standing before him, its eyes blazing with an otherworldly energy.
Who are you?
Zane demanded, his voice steady. The figure didn't answer. Instead, it raised its hand, and Zane felt himself lifted off the ground. "You are not worthy," the figure said, its voice like thunder.
"You will never master the spirit fusion technique."
And with that, Zane felt himself being pulled back into the formation, his body disappearing into its depths. The group stood there, frozen in shock and confusion. They had no idea what was happening to their leader, or what lay ahead. But they knew one thing: they would have to follow him into the unknown if they wanted to claim their rewards and uncover the secrets of Black Crow Mountain. The fate of their journey hangs in the balance as they disappear into the heart of the formation. Will they emerge victorious, or will they fall victim to its ancient power? The journey continues. As Zane Martel disappeared into the formation, the group was left stunned and confused. The air was thick with anticipation, and the silence was palpable. But what lay ahead was beyond their wildest dreams. A room filled with bloody lights and a blood pool that seemed to stretch on forever. The air was heavy with the stench of death, and the group's eyes widened in horror as they gazed upon the gruesome scene. The room was a testament to the dark rituals that had taken place within its walls. The walls were adorned with ancient symbols, and the air was thick with the scent of incense. It was as if they had stepped into a dark and foreboding shrine. Zane's eyes lit up with excitement as he approached the blood pool.
Blood pool? This must be where the Spirit Fusion sect performed their blood sacrifices. And look at all that blood essence. It's incredible.
He reached out a trembling hand, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. As Zane began to absorb the blood essence, his eyes lit up with excitement. He had found what he had been searching for all along, a way to strengthen his powers. The group watched in awe as Zane's aura began to glow with an intense red light. But little did Zane Martel know his actions would have far-reaching consequences. The blood pool was not just any ordinary pool. It was a key to unlocking the secrets of the dragon-devouring prison. As Zane continued to explore the passage, he stumbled upon 3 demonic beast-shaped blood corpses blocking his path. Each one had the strength of the 3rd stage of the intermediate level. The air was thick with tension as Zane's eyes narrowed, his mind racing with strategies. The beasts were unlike anything Zane had ever seen before. Their bodies were twisted and deformed, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly energy. They were the guardians of the prison, and they would not hesitate to strike down anyone who dared to enter. Zane's eyes flashed with determination as he charged forward.
I won't back down. I'll defeat these beasts and uncover the secrets of this place.
The group watched in awe as Zane unleashed a flurry of attacks, his movements swift and deadly. What will happen next? Will Zane Martel be able to defeat these demonic beasts? What secrets lie hidden within the dragon-devouring prison? As the music fades away, the group is left wondering what fate awaits them on their journey.